Hello, everybody, wherever you may be. My name's Larry. My call sign's Kilo 7 Hotel November. Happy Friday. It's the 19th of March, 2020, last day of winter, and it's an Aloha Friday. Welcome to Ham Radio Live.
It was where I sit all cloudy and blends with the prima donnas lying everywhere. Got a guitar in my hand and a Western oil can under my okole for a chair. It's Aloha Friday, no work till Monday.
Everybody sing along here. I'd like to ask you to please hit the subscribe button. It'll help people find the channel here on YouTube. You will find absolutely no commercials here. We don't play anything. You get to the real good part and you have to scream out something like
a crummy commercial.
Exactly. It doesn't happen here because we don't monetize. Welcome to the show, everybody. It's good to see you. Welcome. Happy Friday. Today's the last day of winter, by the way. And did you know, here's a little fun factoid. Did you know that in North America, for the rest of the 21st century, no lie, for the rest of our century, spring will never start on the 21st day of March. Did you know that? Seriously. First time it'll come back is March 21st of 2101. No joke. Yeah, it won't happen within the 24-hour time frame of March 21st in North America on the 21st of March. Yeah, there you go. You want to see what it looks like here today on the last day of winter on the geochron. There is the position of the sun. As you can tell, it's nearly right in the middle of the Earth now. It's right about over the equator. So we're starting to lose our grip on summer in Australia and down to the south part of the southern hemisphere, right? Southern hemisphere is losing their grip on summer, and we're starting to get a little warmer and starting to get longer days in the northern hemisphere. Exactly. We're ready. I think we're more than ready after this winter. That is for sure. Welcome to the show. Going to be a good show today. Hope you enjoy it. We've done the last few days segment on space, outer space. Talked about how high our signals go, right? We talked about our signals travel way up in the air. Think about it. Look how high this is. You go way up to this elevation when you're talking about how high our signals travel. And it's stunning to me to think about our radio waves. And, it's one thing to say, well, they go up to the E layer or they go up to the F1 layer. And then you take a look at a photo of just how high that is. And it's just stunning. It really is. Today, we're going to have some fun. We're going to talk a little bit about radio in space. Yeah, going beyond the ionosphere. Actually, technically, it would be within the F1 layer of the ionosphere or the F layer at night. So, or F2 layer, I should say, the highest layer. So the F2 layer right up there, way up high. But typically, see, our signals go this way. They bounce up and down off the ionosphere, and they land at some other station. Somebody says hi back to us. But when we're working in space, we have to go farther. We have to go above and through those ionospheric layers. We're going to talk about how that's done today. It's all done, of course, on VHF or UHF because those signals will pass through the ionosphere and not bounce around. Before we start, welcome to Stu Foster all the way in the UK. It's nice to see you, Stu. Thanks for coming back. A pleasure to meet your son yesterday. That was an honor. Will Myers is here with a doggone cool-looking bike there. He's Kilo Alpha 8 Golf India Mike. It's a pleasure to have you, Will. Thanks for coming to today's show. Appreciate it. Going to go over extra questions, plus going to have a segment on working satellites, not only the ISS, but also ham radio satellites. Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll show you how it's done, and I think you'll be impressed because not all of us do every segment in ham radio, but because this channel is really devoted to trying to help people get their license and also encourage people to come into ham radio, try and show different facets of the things that we do here. And this is one of those things that someone might just be interested in, talking via satellite. Pretty cool stuff. So we'll get into that and we'll talk about it. And hopefully we'll learn something all together here. Hi, Rod, studying for his general exam and he's working on it. He's also studying the amateur extra as well. Well done, Rod. Wow. Proud of you, man. Hey, you can do it. You can do it. Seriously, man. Just focus Focus on the theory, focus on the things with the rules, right? The FCC rules. Focus on frequencies, learn the band plans. That'll help you a lot. Q codes, math. If you're not good at math, don't stress it. There won't be more than 2 or 3 questions on the test having math involved. So don't worry so much about that. And to people who are really technical, right? The engineers out there, you're going to sit there and say, no, that's incorrect. Don't do it that way. You got to learn it. Got to learn it. Got to learn it. Okay. Let me just explain. There's a lot of people out there who would love to be ham radio operators, but they're not as smart as you. That's just the honest truth. That's not their gift. So try and focus on areas that you are good at or can learn and then go from there. Okay. You'll have good luck on it. Rod, good luck to you on that as well. Today is Extra Friday. We're going to work on the amateur extra questions. Plus, we're going to do the satellite stuff. I hope you find it interesting. Welcome to Ham Radio Live, everybody. The final day of winter. Winter officially starts tomorrow, Saturday, the 20th, right about 5:30 Eastern time here in the U.S. All right. First question's on the extra. What happens if a dip meter is too tightly coupled to a tuned circuit being tested? Okay, a dip meter. Okay, don't worry about, this question. It's not really difficult. A dip meter really is a meter that will help to check if your circuit is resonant, if it's working correctly, okay? Now, what happens if it's too tightly coupled when a tuned circuit's being checked? Well, you can have less accurate reading results. So you have to be careful. Follow the instructions with what you're doing verbatim. Just make sure you're following everything step by step. How to hook everything up and exactly how to check the circuit. Very important to do. Then make your reading, okay? Next question. Which of the following is caused by missing codes in a software-defined radio? SDR is software-defined radio. Receivers analog to digital converter. Okay, now there's a chain that comes into an SDR. Okay, that chain includes the A to D converter because our signals travel analog. Okay, so what happens if there's some missing codes in that SDR front end? You could have distortion. Okay, that's what happens if there's some missing codes. So just understand what a lot of people will call it is bit rate. Okay, how many bits can the radio receive? Because really it's a computer. It's a computer that converts into a radio. Okay, computerized radio. Super heterodyne radios are crystal radios that use crystals. Okay, then they have multiple front ends with oscillators. Remember, we talked about how it works. The oscillator is necessary to help keep the frequency stable so it doesn't drift. Okay, so the frequency is going to be set to a certain frequency on that oscillator. The oscillator oscillates, which essentially makes a very low signal that receiver can hear to allow whatever frequency you're on to stay stable. Okay, in triple and double conversions, there'll be multiple oscillators helping the radio to either be more stable on frequency or have more selectivity to keep the signals separate to allow you to hear the weak signals. On an SDR, because it's computerized, it needs a certain amount of bits to get into the system, into the chain, to be able to make the radio receive properly. That's really how it works. So when you're looking at something like, say, an ICOM 7300, okay, here's a real good example of this, and I hope this is still set up. I don't think I took this off yet. Let me see. Just a moment. No, I didn't. Hang on a second. I did take it off. Let me just change camera angles. I'll show you what I'm talking about. We'll show the 7300, okay? Because on the 7300, when you're looking at this transceiver right there, okay, there's a real good example. They both are SDRs, but the reason I picked the 7300 is because the 7300 is a direct sampling SDR, okay? It's going to look at what's coming in to the frequency, coming in on the front end, okay, what the radio is picking up. It's going to pick up everything it can. That's how it works, everything it can. Now, when you move over, say, for example, to a competing product, to be fair, okay, this is the Yaesu, sorry about that, the Yaesu FDDX10, also an SDR, but it's different. This one uses super heterodyne, and computerized or SDR technology. Okay. So on this one, it actually does have a crystal. Yeah, uses a crystal at the front end. So the radio will pick up the front end and have a 9 megahertz reference oscillator, keeping the signal stable. Okay. From there, it goes to the analog to digital converter and it starts working its magic. Okay. There's a field programmable gate array inside that technically tells the computer and the radio how to do everything. SDRs are pretty special, and it is the future of ham radio. It's where we're going, absolutely where we're going. Very few super heterodynes being made right now. The only one making only super hets is Kenwood. That's it. Next question on the extra in the US. By the way, Tom in Bahrain, nice to see you. Thank you for coming all the way from Bahrain. It's always a pleasure. Tom's call sign in the US is Alpha Echo 1 Tango Papa. In Bahrain, it's Alpha 92 Golf Whiskey. Thanks for being here, Tom. You know I think the world of you, buddy. Thank you. Next question. And by the way, I'm jealous of that 590, man. I'm still searching daily for that 590. And I mean daily, like 7 times a day. Yeah, I've seen the one on eBay. Don't think the guy's the guy I want to deal with. Okay, next question. At what time of day is sporadic E propagation most likely to occur? All right, we talked about the ionosphere. Here's a really good example of how things work. I'll put this up on the screen with it, okay? So our waves typically move and they hit that ionosphere. That's the yellow area on the screen, okay? Well, there are areas within that are supercharged. Remember yesterday we talked about popcorn? When our electrical signals hit the ionosphere acts like popcorn popping in a popping machine, it literally just starts popping everywhere because it accelerates the atoms and the ions in the ionosphere and forces the signal back to Earth. That's why it reflects it. Okay. Now, sometimes there are highly charged clouds of ions within the ionosphere. Those highly charged ions create what's called sporadic E propagation, where it's like a supercharged cloud of ions. Think of it kind of like a thunderstorm, but it's in the ionosphere, so you can't see it. So what happens if you're working sporadic E, and you see this a lot on 6 meters, a lot, okay? The time of day it typically happens is any time of day. Of course it would be, because sporadic E is just one of those times where a highly charged area of the ionosphere is going over and your radio wave hits it, okay? So there's no certain time of day, whether day or night, that it happens. It just happens to be up there. You happen to get it. Now, if you do get sporadic E on the receiving end, you might get some distortion. You could get some feedback. You might get a garbled signal because sporadic E is not the most, how do I say this? It's not the most stable way to pick up your signal. Basically, that's the way sporadic E works. Think of it like a broken mirror, shining light into it, right? And the light shoots everywhere out from it. That's the way your signal comes out of a cloud that's highly charged with ions in sporadic E. All right. Next question on the Amateur Extra today. Extra Fridays on Ham Radio Live. By the way, Sam, thank you for the thumbs up. That's very kind of you. Thank you so much. All right. Next question. Atmospheric ducts capable of propagating microwave signals. So now we're way, way up there. We're in UHF. Okay. Often form over what geographic feature? Well, they don't go over mountain ranges. They don't go over forests. They don't go over urban areas, but over bodies of water they do. And the reason why is because bodies of water are stable land masses that don't have areas that go up. Really, that's why. They need a stable, smooth area where there's no vegetation, nothing to mess with it, okay? In those conditions, atmospheric ducts can happen, and the benefit for you is that you can make longer distance QSOs with UHF. That's pretty cool. We're going to talk about UHF a lot today on the show, working out in space. All right, next question. What's the difference between FSK, which is frequency shift keying, and audio FSK? Okay, so direct FSK is digital, like a text message. Okay, audio FSK, it's like using your microphone, but it's frequency shift keying. The difference is direct frequency shift keying applies the data signal to the transmitter VFO. All right. in layman's terms, what it means is your microphone input basically goes to your computer and it sends out the signal. That's it. That's the practical answer. Your computer, which hooks up through your microphone input, will then send out a text message. That's it. All right. I'm sorry. Rather be, really honest and try to be in layman's terms as much as I can to make it more simple for you to understand how it works. That's how part of the digital modes work. All right. Next question. Which of the following digital modes is especially designed for use with meteor scatter signals? Yeah, did you know we can actually, ham radio operators are geniuses. They think of any way possible to bounce a signal. Well, it could be the moon. Let's go with meteors. Oh, why don't we try the space shuttle or the International Space Station? Of course. Jeez. So they figured out they can actually bounce signals off of meteors that hit the Earth's atmosphere. It's true. The best way to do it, if you're going to use a digital mode to try and send a quick signal, because these are very quick and they don't last very long, is to use FSK 441. Okay, that is the digital mode to use if you're going to send a digital mode through meteor scatter. It's amazing. You think about all the things that ham radio can do with ham radio operators. Man, bouncing signals off the moon so someone else can hear you, down off of a satellite, here in the space station. It's amazing what we can do, really is. And we'll have fun today talking about the last piece of space. Okay. What indicator is required to be used by U.S. licensed operators when operating a station via remote control where the transmitter is located in the U.S.? Okay, now let's get this into just practical terms. You're using your radio by remote control. Say you're using ICOM's remote control software, okay? You're using their ICOM software, I think it's called RSB, something or other. Anyway, you're running it on your computer. It turns your rig on, okay? It transmits when you tell it to transmit. But let's say you're like Tom and you're in Bahrain and your station is in Minnesota. Well, if you're visiting Tom in Bahrain and your station's in Minnesota, you have to say anything. There's no additional indicator required, meaning that, let's say your call sign, just for fun, is Kilo Zero ABC. Kilo Zero ABC. Okay, I'm not saying that's your call sign, and whoever's call sign that is, I don't want to say anything bad about you. I love you. Don't worry about it. Okay, it's just an example. So let's say it's K0ABC, all right? And you're in Bahrain. You don't have to add, the AG. You don't have, the A92. You don't have to add A92 to it. For example, you wouldn't say, this is K0ABC stroke A92. You don't need to, because you're transmitting from your home, essentially. You're still using your rig from home, even though you're not there. Remember, the question says remote control. That's the key part of that question. Let's take one more look, because this one can really throw people. It says remote control. See? When operating a station via remote control, where the transmitter is located in the U.S. That's it. So all you do, use your radio, have some fun. You're on vacation maybe, and you just want to play ham radio. Turn your radio on, use your call sign, remember the rules, and stay clean. Okay, next question on the extra. Why may the received signal from an amateur satellite exhibit a rapidly repeating fading effect? We'll talk about this today. It's because the satellite spins. That's all. A satellite, when it's up there, ham radio satellites, they rotate. That's how they work. Part of it is because they have solar panels and they need to keep them charged. And part of it is simply there's no gravity up there. Once they start to spin, they're not hugely technical satellites, meaning that they're not like NASA built or from a space station, place like some government agency that builds satellites. These are simple things. So they don't have tons of stability sometimes, and they spin. So when you work one, you might get a rapidly fading signal back. It's just not a stable return signal. Not the satellite's fault. It's just the way it spins. That's all. Next question on the extra. 3 more. What privileges are authorized in U.S. people, so in the U.S., to persons holding an amateur service license granted by the government of Canada? Okay, so let's say you're on vacation. You want to go see, let's say, Rod. Okay, he's a Victor Echo 3 Foxtrot Union Charlie. Let's say you're overseeing Rod, hanging out, having a nice weekend at Rod's house. All right. If you're using Rod's radio, can you? And what are the rules? The answer is the operating terms and conditions of the Canadian Amateur Service License not to exceed U.S. extra class privileges. So, what that means is, listen carefully. In Canada, you can transmit up to 2,250 watts. That's their maximum. The highest power in the world, by the way, for amateur radio, period. But you, as a U.S. licensed amateur, can only go to 1,500. That's it. You can't go to the max 2250 because it's outside of the extra class privilege. Okay? Even though it's Canada, you can't exceed US privileges. That's a loophole. Don't forget that. Next question. Where are the questions for all written US amateur license examinations listed? Okay, so basically, where's the book that has all the questions in it at? You might think it's like in the FCC's office, right? But it's not. It's in a question pool that's maintained by all the VECs, which is the Volunteer Examiner Coordinators. They simply have a book of all the test questions, and then they give you a test, which is randomly selected, and you fill it out. They check it by an answer key, and they see if you've passed or not. But the whole question pool is maintained by the VECs. It's also written by amateurs as well, but made sure that it follows Part 97 to the FCC. That's it. Last question today on the Amateur Extra. What is the Amateur Satellite Service? This is why we saved this for last, because the show really talks a lot about this. The Amateur Satellite Service is a radio communication service that uses amateur radio amateur radio stations on satellites. Okay, so a radio communications service using amateur radio stations on satellites. Okay, so what this really means, what's the amateur satellite service? What is the amateur satellite service? It's basically a bunch of amateurs who have satellites orbiting the Earth to be able to perform contacts for people via ham radio. That's it. Nothing special. It's done by AMSAT, by the way. That's the U.S. organization. It's the AMSAT, Amateur Radio Satellite Corporation. Their goal is to foster amateur radio's participation in space research and communication. It actually was founded back in 1961. Yep. It's a West Coast USA-based group which built and launched the very first amateur radio satellite, Oscar. It was launched on December 12, 1961, about a little over 4 years after the launch of Sputnik. And most of their satellites, by the way, are homebrew. Did you know that? Yep. Homebrewed satellites. That's what they are. According to the AMSAT website, they say today the homebrew flavor of these early amateur radio satellites lives on, as most of the hardware and software now flying on even the most advanced AMSAT satellites is largely the product of volunteer effort and donated resources. Though we are fond of traditions, our designs and technology continue to push the outside of the envelope. That's AMSAT. It's what they do. Now, taking a look at this from a practical perspective, let me show you something. All right. I'm going to get the Geochron to show you real quick how many amateur satellites there are. I don't have them set up on here because literally if I did, it's hard to see the map. That's just the only thing. So I'm going to go ahead and put the satellites on so you can see them and give you a good idea of just exactly what they are right now, where they are in the world, and give you a good idea of what it looks like. Okay, that'll help you to be able to know exactly what's going on. Okay, let's switch to that camera so you can see it. Currently over the Earth, look at all these. This is why I don't have it on my screen. I'll back it out. That's the satellites going around the Earth right now. All of the amateur satellites. It'll show their direction in terms of where they're at and where they're going and the speed that they're at. Look at all those. It's amazing how many satellites are going over the Earth at one time. Is that something? Yeah, amateur radio satellites. We're going to talk about that today. Before we do that, let's get your comments because I'd like to make sure and say hello to everybody, okay? It's nice to have you here. Thank you for coming. I mean that. Hi, Ishmael, all the way in Dominica. It's good to see you. Good to see you. And Ishmael is Juliet 72 India Mike Sierra. Juliet 72 India Mike Sierra. Ishmael, always a pleasure to see you. Gunter is here from Germany. Welcome, my friend. Happy Friday to you. We've got Dave in Temecula. Happy Friday and last day of winter. Oh my gosh. Thank goodness, right? Isn't that something? Tom heard Gunter today while out portable. He's going to try and see if he can make a contact with him. That would be pretty cool. I know he'd love that. 20 meters is working okay today in the European continent. That's pretty good. 15 meters was so-so. It's nice to get signal reports on frequencies from the other continents. Isn't it? Isn't that cool? Thanks, guys. Thank you very much. Tom said 17. He said did not go up to 15, but was on 17 meters as well. So that's pretty cool. I like 17. It's small. Makes it easy to work, right? Because 17 is only 100 kilohertz wide, so it's not very long. Let's see. Doing well today. Doing well. Actually, great. Got a great night's sleep, man. 12 hours never happens. That was great to get so much. Gunter, 160 to 10 meters is my world. Mine too. We're both very similar there as well. All right. So let's go ahead and show you what it's like to work outer space. It's part of our space series we've had the last 3 days. And it really is trying to show you a little bit about how far ham radio operators really stretch the envelope to make communications. It's going to astound you, I think. Let's first take a look at what it's like to work the ISS. Full credit will be due to this ham, as well as his YouTube channel will be described in the below of this description, so you can find him if you'd like to see more of his work. Let's meet Larry.
Hi everyone, Larry, WD0AKX. A little while ago I was able to make contact with one of the astronauts on the International Space Station by ham radio during an overhead pass. So I did capture some of that on video. So let's take a look.
On this first pass, Serena Anand is talking to students answering questions at Texas A&M using ham radio.
Now what he's using there is the Yaesu 400 XDR. That's the transceiver he's using. Great transceiver. Again, the Yaesu 400.
Traveling at over 17,000 miles per hour above the Earth's surface right now.
So crystals really like to grow up here. They grow really big. The 3D structure, the quality is much better. So we're actually looking at a study right now for Parkinson's disease, and this is a disease that can affect all kinds of people, certainly United States, around the world. And we're growing these crystals. They can find an area to target for a special medication to help treat Parkinson's disease. And this was something unexpected. They did not expect this, but when they began to see how these crystals were growing, they got really excited up here. Over.
This is now the second pass, and I will have about a 10-minute window to attempt contact with the International Space Station.
Beautiful pass over the States.
Whiskey Delta Zero Alpha Kilo X-ray.
Whiskey Delta Zero Alpha Kilo X-ray and 1SF.
Hello, this is Larry in Minnesota. Nice to talk with you.
Oh, Minnesota. Man, we're kind of a low pass for you guys, huh?
Yes, you are. I'm running a vertical antenna, which is not the best way to do this, but it's working for me.
That is super clear up here. Nice equipment.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the contact. I'll let you make some more from Whiskey Delta Zero Alpha Kilo X-ray.
Okay, you see how on his Yaesu 400XD, how it showed ISS. It's pretty cool, right? You can work the International Space Station with just a simple radio, and it doesn't have to be that elaborate. You can get a cheaper radio but they use VHF, UHF. Usually the uplink frequency is one and the downlink is another. They use two of them, and there's a reason for that. The reason why, when you're trying to work space on a ham radio, is you got to understand again how our waves work. If we're on HF, they're going to bounce off the ionosphere. Well, the space station is higher than that. Basically, it's higher than most levels of the ionosphere. Only F2 or the F region at night is higher than the space station. So we have to use direct path methods, which are UHF or VHF. Let's take a look at another amateur radio operator who's using his gear in a very strange way to work satellites. One thing I want you to watch during this clip, watch how far he moves the antenna. He's using it by hand, literally adjusting the azimuth, which is the height, and the direction. By hand, continuing to work satellite communication. Check this out.
Hotel Papa 2, Victor X-ray, Kilo Golf 4, Alpha Kilo Victor. Kilo Golf 4, Alpha, Kilo Victor, Hotel Papa 2, Victor X-ray,
USL doing a demo here at Raleigh Amateur Radio Society Hamfest. Thanks. Panama.
Okay, you see where the antenna is pointed now?
9 Yankee 4 Delta, Kilo Golf 4, Alpha Kilo Victor. Kilo Golf 4, Alpha Kilo Victor, 9Y4 Delta 59, Fox 91, Fox Kilo 91, okay. Tell QSL, I'm Fox Mike 05.
Okay. The reason why for new hams or people who'd like to get in ham radio, he's moving this antenna, he's pointing it at the satellite in space as it rotates over the Earth. So as it's orbiting the Earth, he's following the exact orbit of that satellite by hand, working radio. This is fantastic work. Watch how far around he moves this antenna to be able to maintain a lock on the orbit of the satellite.
Hotel Papa 2, Victor X-ray. November 3, Juliet, November X-ray, November 11. November 3, Juliet, November X-ray, Kilo Golf 4, Alpha Kilo Victor. KK4HOR, Echo Lima 96. KG4, Alpha Kilo November 3, Juliet, November X-ray, Victor Echo 3, Charlie Whiskey Uniform, Fox November 03.
And he's going to keep rotating that Yagi antenna just to get a better signal from the satellite.
Go ahead with your grid. Fox Mike 05. Roger, roger, copy, Fox November. KG4AKV, W5, Papa, Fox Golf. W5, PFG, believe you're sounding good here at the Raleigh Hamfest. Great to hear that, John. You got it. November 3, Juliet, November X-ray from Victor Echo 3, Charlie Whiskey Uniform, Fox November 03. Yeah, KG4AKV, W5, PFG, QSL, John, great signal in the Texas. Thanks a lot. KJ4AKV, Whiskey Hotel 6. Good copy. This is KJ4HOR, Echo Lima 96. Do you copy? Whiskey Hotel 6 station, KG4AKV.
QSL, it's grid here, Echo Lima 98, Whiskey Hotel 6, Echo Tango Foxtrot.
Echo Tango Foxtrot, QSL, Fox Mike 05.
November 3, you get November 8, but you have to fly South Foxtrot.
Whiskey Bravo 2, Whiskey Echo Oscar, Echo Mike 93 calling. KJ4AKV, NA1SA, Fox November 10, John. NA1SA, hey Loon, sounding good at the Raleigh Hamfest, 73 KG4AKV, Fox Mike 05. 73.
Whiskey 4, Whiskey Papa X-ray, Kilo Japan 4 Echo Uniform, Echo Mike 56.
KG4AKV, November 4, Delta Charlie Whiskey, Echo Mike 78. November 4, Delta Charlie Whiskey, sounding good at the Hamfest, Fox Mike 05, KG4AKV. QSL, thanks. KG4AKV, Whiskey 5 Radio, 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 Echo Lima 29, Justin Space Center. W5RR, thanks for checking me from the Space Center, Fox Mike 05. USL 73, Justin. W5RR, WB2, WEO, Echo Mike 93. November 3, Juliet, November X-ray, NA1SA, Fox, November 10.
You see the people pump their fists because you got a hold of Space Center. That's pretty cool.
Go right again.
Always made me laugh seeing this video. It's great.
W5RRR, CL29, WB2, WEO, Echo Mike 93. QSL WB2, WEO 73.
KJ4AKV, W5CBF.
W5CBF, hey, send a good to MFest, KG4AKV, Fox Mike 05.
Echo Mike 30, thank you, W5CBF.
73.
Now, I've put up a small version of the U.S. grid square map. These are the coordinates that they're using to send to each other to let them know exactly how far away they're working each other.
Triple R, QSL, EL29, 73. WB2, WEO, Whiskey Hotel 6, Echo Tango, Foxtrot. KG4AKV, November Sierra 3 Lima, Fox R20. November Sierra 3 Lima, sounding good at the Hamfest, KG4AKV, Fox Mike 05. QSL 73 for the address PA. KG4AKV, KJ4 Echo Uniform, Echo Mike 56. KJ4 Echo Uniform, KG4AKV, Fox Mike 05, 73.
Now look at where the antenna is, see?
From Kilo 3 Triple R, Fox Mike 19. Kilo 3 Triple R, sounding good, Robert. KG4AKV, Fox Mike 05. Thanks, John. Looks like you're having a good time.
Check that out. Wasn't that something? Just how far he moved that antenna. Started pointing towards the camera, and as the satellite was orbiting over the Earth, he followed it with the antenna to keep it on the orbit so he could be able to continue to make calls. Isn't that something? And then here again, this is the U.S. grid square map. This is what people are saying when they're talking about their location, okay? Look how big this is, and very difficult to show you here on YouTube. Just trust me, it's big. This gives you an idea. And this is only for the U.S. That's it. So everybody has a grid square. Everyone gets one in the U.S. and in the world. So in order to share with the other person that we might be making a contact with, if it's a quick contact like you would make over satellite, you're going to give your call sign and your grid square. That's enough for the station on the other end to get an idea exactly where they're working. Pretty cool, isn't it? So there you go. Get a little bit about space this week. We talked about how high the signals go and what it looks like all that way up. Plus, we talked about working signals up off the moon and back down. And today we talked about working the International Space Station as well as working ham radio satellites and how many there are. There's a crazy amount of those things up there when you think about it. So hope you've enjoyed this. It's been a lot of fun to bring it for you. Thank you, guys. All right, let's take a look at your comments. Yeah, Larry's got a good channel, YouTube channel. We'll have his YouTube channel listed below. Fozzie's back. Welcome back, buddy. All the way from the UK. That's Stu's son. Fozzie, it's good to see you again. Welcome back. Welcome back. Ken Gray is here from Yorkshire, England. Oh my gosh, Ken, good to see you. Thank you for coming, mate. It's great to see you. Hi again from Yorkshire. Propagation's been really weird this last couple of weeks. U.S. stations are booming. Wow. On 80 meters. That's good. Hope as early as 20 UTC. Hope you're keeping well. His call sign, Golf 3, Whiskey November Radio. Thank you very much, Ken. What a treat it is. Thank you so much to have you here today. Welcome, mate. Good to see you from the UK. All right, and some more folks saying hi. Bill Weinger, my pop over in California, Tracy, California. Dad, good to see you. Welcome. Good to see you. I'll give you a call in a few moments, okay, buddy? I will. Yep, he's tired after his week of school, but wanted to say hi to everybody. Bless his heart. Hey, Fozzie, thanks for being here again. It's great to see you. All right, so we've talked a little bit about space. You know, space?
Space, the final frontier.
Uh-huh. And we talked about ham radio and how we use space. Isn't that amazing? From using balloons, which carry ham radios and people use them to make contacts, to going up to the moon and bouncing signals off the moon, to talking to astronauts at the International Space Station, as well as using ham radio satellites to make calls. Those satellites, by the way, you can use digital modes if you want to send text messages to another, maybe another country. You can do that. Perhaps you want to make a call on a microphone. You can do that as well. Or if you want to just send Morse code, you can do all of that. Usually it's on UHF and VHF. In fact, they always are. UHF, VHF has to punch through the ionosphere to get up to the satellite. And then you just see what you can do. Just make sure your antenna is pointed towards the satellite. All right, let's take a quick look. And why don't we use the ICOM today? We haven't used it for a while. Just a second. Let me get the right camera on the ICOM. Just a moment. Hang on. Yeah, there it is. Good. I was like, I didn't mark the camera. I better use that one. All right, here we go. We'll get the ICOM 7300 hooked up. We'll see how it does. Now, a couple of antennas. I showed you yesterday a homebrew that I did just out of, because there was like nothing else to do. So let me show you. This is kind of how it looked yesterday. Had the loading coil. Here was the base. The antenna is just a ham stick, okay? Simple antenna to put up. It really is very, very simple, because all you have to do is literally just get a base, get a ham stick, put some ground radios out, hook up your coax, and check the SWR. Let's check the SWR on the little guy now, because when I say little guy, he's only about now maybe 11 feet off the ground. Just a sec. All right, sorry about that. We dropped the stream somehow, but we're back. And let me show you real quick on the little homebrew antenna what the SWR looks like. I don't know if you saw this part, so let me show you real quick the SWR on this antenna, okay? This is the little homebrew guy. It's about 11 feet off the ground, okay? Now we're going to compare it to the Chameleon MPass 2.0. Now this is up about 23 feet high. Let's take a look and see how it compares. Let me switch antennas. Give me a moment. Okay, here's the Chameleon. We'll see how its SWR looks. There it goes. See, it just has there's its curve, right? So it's curving down to 14,255. So if we move over, let's go about 14,275, and we'll see real quick if there's anybody there. I checked before to see. Not hearing anybody. Let's check and see how its SWR curve is right here if we're at 14,275. See that? Now that's the Chameleon MPass 2.0. Let's go back to the homebrew first. I want to see how it does, see if we can hear anybody first. And again, put the microphone up to the speaker of the 7300. So the sound of the show is going to be a little different with the radio. We'll see how it does. Give us a second. Okay, back on the homebrew. Let's take a look at the SWR here. That's what you expect for a ham stick, right? Pretty level. And it's not really been tuned again since I moved the loading coil. So let me put this to the speaker and let's see if we can make a call with something literally 7 feet off the ground. Hang on.
This is Whiskey 6, Delta Yankee, W60Y calling.
Kilo 7, Hotel November. Kilo 7, Hotel November. Okay. Let's change frequencies real quick. And again, sorry for the way it sounds. Microphone is pointed right at the rig. Hang on. Let me tell you, this is a very weird way to work a ham radio.
It's a reasonable afternoon hut. It's pretty nice and warm, actually. 49 degrees and a little wind, and the snow is a melting, over.
Kilo 7 Hotel November.
That sounds great. Anyway, I hope you're enjoying it, not sitting inside working game radio. I got to go outside and shovel off a little more snow and burn some trash, over.
Kilo 7 Hotel November.
Okay, I'll do on the log in 73 to you, and I think there's another station, and I'll be clear with November Whiskey 5 Oscar in Francisco, Indiana. And it's a KL7, I believe. Go ahead.
Kilowatt 7 Hotel November. What was your call sign, sir?
Okay, Kilowatt 7 Hotel November. Good afternoon.
QSL, Kilo 7 Hotel November. QTH is Independence, Oregon. You're on a YouTube channel called Ham Radio Live right now, and we're using experimental antenna. Over.
Okay, are you Larry?
You are correct, sir. I am Larry. Lima Alpha Romeo Romeo Yankee. QSL?
That's right. Did you say Roger to Larry?
Very good, thank you. What was your call sign again? It's hard to hear in the position I'm in to do the show.
Whiskey Bravo 7 Bravo Kilo Mike 77 BKM. I'm located near Laramie, Wyoming. Over.
QSL, thank you so much. This is the first call we've made with this antenna, and I'm grateful it got out. I really appreciate it. What's the signal report? Over. Yes, it's Larry.
Okay, and you've got the YL system. You're welcome to check in all the time as a guest. No problem. You don't have to be a member. And we have a website that I'd like to give you, which you can copy. It's ylsystems.org. ylsystems.org. Over.
ylsystems.org. I've got it. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. I'm sorry, we had a little QSB. What was the signal report again, my friend?
Okay, Larry, I got you. You've kind of fading out on me, but I'm glad you got the information. Don't go to that website down the bottom. There's a free download for that login that you use for logging connections here on the YL system. You'll all copy your pieces together. So thank you much, Larry, for checking in on your working on experiments, but it's getting through, but it's pretty weak. So I'm clear with Kilo 7 Hotel November, WB7 DCAM. Was there another check-in?
Kilo 7 Hotel November QSY. Thanks. Hey, we'll take that. We'll take that, right? We'll take that. I'll tell you what. That makes me pretty excited. Let me get back to a working position here. That makes me doggone excited. Let me tell you right now, because what that was, that's literally just a ham stick on a tripod. That's all it is. Now, the number one question I get in emails, no joke, is I have no way to put up an antenna, or I've got terrible antenna restrictions in my area, and they won't let me have an antenna. Well, could you maybe throw a tripod up? Perhaps maybe a photo tripod, for a camera, and then throw something like that up. Throw like a ham stick. Simple. Just hooks up right here. Just buy this. It's the MFJ 342T. Just connect it onto your tripod. You don't need this. That was the thing that messed me up yesterday. I think having the loading coil, because this antenna already has it already kind of has the loading coil built into it. So if you take this off sometime before the show ends, this will essentially just go right to the mount. That's it. Just put it right on the mount directly. That's what I just did, and it made all the difference in the world. We were able to hear and make a call all the week to Larry, Wyoming. So for folks that are really stuck in bad situations, with having a hard time making calls, that's all you need. Just the ham stick. Buy the ham stick for like $25. Pick the band you want to work. That will be mostly resonant for at least part of the band. And then buy the MFJ 342T. And here's why. Because it gives you the ability to add, get the camera here, to on these nuts here, unscrew one of the nuts and put ground radials down. Okay, the more ground radials, the better. You get your SWR down below, hopefully 1.5 to 1, and you'll make some calls. You can still do ham radio. That's what I hope to achieve by that weirdo antenna experiment that happened at 2 in the morning. So I'm glad that worked. That was a fun QSO. I'll log that after the show. Let me move you back over. And this time, what I think we'll do is I think we'll go over to the FTDX10. We'll do this for Ken, who is KXTU, who just, ready for this? He bought his FTDX10. Congratulations, my friend. You got a good one. You'll enjoy it. This is a fantastic transceiver. Okay, let's get over and take a quick look and see if it's. Where's our audio at now? Our audio is gone? No, it is. It's just not on right now. That's really odd. Oh my God, no audio. Okay, well, all right. We're in. Wow, we're in. I don't know what the first one ran because we lost the stream. So we're kind of, I guess, up over close to an hour. So we'll just close it there. I like it because, thank you, everybody. That's not really there. I liked it because we showed the antenna work. That was fun. And we showed space and how it's, used by ham radio operators. And we got to show a little bit about working the ISS. Now, for young hams, for people who'd like to be in ham radio, or people who'd be interested in talking to an astronaut, there are 2 amateur radios up there, all right? The astronauts, many of them are ham licensees, will do time where they'll fly over a continent and they'll make calls. It's really cool. Now, what they do is many times they'll have a schedule with a school, okay, like maybe a grade school somewhere, and they'll have the ability to talk to students there. But oftentimes they'll fly over and they'll just take your calls. It's fantastic. All you need for that is a VHF, UHF ham radio. The good part of this is you can do that really a lot less expensive than buying an HF setup. Really, all you need is a 2-meter, 70-centimeter antenna. You can get a ham stick for that if you'd like, or if you want to get a Yagi, you can do that as well. But the main point is, find out when the ISS is going over. There are many apps on the internet, or websites, I should say, on the internet that'll show you that. So when the space station gets within range, you can make the call to an astronaut. It's really cool. All you just need is that, UHF, VHF receiver. So something that works 2 meters and 440. You're good to go. All right, final comments on the show before we close it. And tomorrow, CQ Calling, the first Saturday show scheduled. We should be on 20 tomorrow. Conditions, will be determining that. So yeah, you're gonna love the radio. KXTU. I like the call sign. That'd be a cool one. KXTU. I'd want to get a jingle package for that. That'd be sweet. KXTU. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. So, yeah, you should love the rig. It's a fantastic transceiver. Fozzie back on for a couple of minutes. We're going to scoot out so you can say goodbye here, and I appreciate that. And then look at this. Quick Ton Kevin made a quarter wave vertical today for 17 meters, just 4 ground radials, cut it quarter wave. USA was screaming in this afternoon on this. You know, that's the main thing. If you're going to build an antenna, it's just simple. Use the number 234 divided by the frequency you want to work. Whatever that number is, okay? 17 meters, you can have a shorter antenna, right? Just make your ground radials the same distance, the same cuts. Then use your directive element going up, that's your conductor for your coax, the outer shield or the ground, those are your ground radials. Hook it to your antenna tuner or to your antenna analyzer. Check that through your antenna analyzer. Make sure your SWR is good. If it's not, trim a little bit, add a little bit, whatever you got to do to get your SWR as good as you can, and start making calls. It's easy to make these antennas. You just have to have a little bit of time and patience. It'll work. We're also going to be going through the ARRL antenna book and working some cool projects with this. I'm excited for this. This is going to be a fun one to do. You can find this, by the way, at most ham radio retailers, plus Amazon has it as well. It's expensive. It's about $50 before tax. But man, I mean, you talk about antenna projects. This thing is loaded with every kind of antenna project you could imagine. And we'll be going over some of that. So if you have questions on antennas, things you'd like to build, let me know in the comments section, okay? I'll do my very best. In fact, better yet, not comments. Don't do that. Too many. Just email me. My email is on QRZ on my call sign. Just call sign. You can call sign search on QRZ, K7HN. My email's right there. Send me an email. Let me know what antenna project you might want to learn about, and we'll look at that together in the ARRL antenna book. By the way, if you'd like to become a ham radio operator, please don't stop thinking about it. Do it. Yeah, even if you're not in the U.S., go ahead and get a hold of ARRL.org right here on the page. It'll be in the description as well after the show. Get a hold of them. If you're not in the United States, you can still reach out to them. They'll tell you where the nearest ham radio club is to you so you can join us on the air, work satellites, bounce signals off the moon, make calls to other countries from the comfort of your home. The cool part of ham radio, by the way, this is a ham radio. Did you know that? It's a true story. Cell phones are a ham radio. The cool part of ham radio versus a cell phone is you make it yourself. And from the comfort of your home, you meet some wonderful people from different continents that will love to talk to you and get to know you as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. I don't monetize. I just ask that you please subscribe. Helps people to find the channel. I don't know everything, and I know these shows don't please everyone. And that's okay. They're not meant for you. They're meant for someone else, someone interested in ham radio. And for those who've contacted me, thanking me for helping you get your license, you have no idea how much that means to me. Thank you. I mean that. The reason I do these shows without monetization, without any extra stuff, without these stupid little subscribe now and hit the subscribe button flags that can pop up, I can do that with this. It's easy. I know how to do it, but I don't because I want the shows to be clean to you. But the reason I do this is because I waited too long to get my own license, and I don't want someone else to make that mistake. So please contact ARRL.org. They'll get you on the road to get you started on how you can become a ham radio operator too. All right. Tomorrow, 20 UTC, we'll do your CQ calling show. Maybe make a call with you. I would sure appreciate that. My name is Larry. My call sign is Kilo 7 Hotel November, and it's been a true honor and privilege to show you the shows from space today. Until tomorrow, goodbye, everybody, and God bless you.
That concludes our telecasting for today. CKWS Television is owned and operated by the Frontenac Broadcasting Company Limited and transmits on Channel 11. Our transmitter is located on Wolf Island, 5 miles south of Kingston, and our studios are located at 170 Queen Street in downtown Kingston. We hope you'll keep your set tuned to Channel 11 for the finest in television entertainment. From all the staff at CKWS TV, we wish you a good night and good morning.